Oh, sure it does. Sure it does. No one.
Well, you're here,
Other interviews.
Brendan, you locked the door. Did you lock the door?
Now it's so light. I did surgery live for
Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call tonight's meeting to order. My name is Councillor Plant. Unfortunately, Mayor Atwell is under the weather and is not going to be in attendance tonight. The month of October sees the rotation towards having myself as the acting mayor. So this morning the mayor asked if I would kindly chair this public hearing, and I'm very happy to do so, but I hope he recovers and feels better soon. We also have regrets from Councillor Sanders, who is not feeling well and indicated that she may not be able to attend tonight's meeting. So with that, we shall get underway. Tonight's special council meeting is for the purpose of a public hearing. The public hearing procedure is as follows. The clerk will introduce the item, following which council will be given an opportunity to ask questions of staff. I will then request the applicant to present his proposal to council and the public. Following the applicant's presentation, I will call a total of 3 times for those persons wishing to be heard either in favor or in opposition to the application. If you wish to speak on the item being considered, please come up to the microphone, state your name and your address, and then give your comments. Once the call for public input has been given 3 times consecutively, no further representation from the public can be considered. After all persons wishing to consider council have been heard, I will ask the applicant to respond to any questions, provide new information, or present factual matters raised by the speakers. Once the applicant has been provided an opportunity to respond, I will then close the public hearing and ask council to debate the matter. And just before we begin with the first item, I just would like to draw anybody in the audience who may be here for the Clovelly discussion item or the bylaw discussion. That has been put off. I will say that again. Clovelly has been put off to an upcoming meeting, public hearing, and we are tentatively thinking that will be October 26th, but residents and neighbors will be informed of that, and we would ask you to keep your eyes on the publications that the Saanich, District of Saanich puts out advertisements into. So apologies if you were here for that. Otherwise, we shall get underway. Madam Clerk, would you please introduce the first item?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This first item is Zoning Bylaw 2003, Amendment Bylaw 2015, number 9349. It's a proposed amendment to multifamily commercial Christmas Hill zone. The amendment to the MFCCH multifamily commercial Christmas Hill zone will increase the permitted gross floor area devoted to all commercial uses from 372 square meters to 585 square meters. The proposed amendment will allow for the construction of a commercial office building on Lot C, Section 49, Victoria District, Plan BIP 68393, which is 779 Blackberry Road. The development permit amendment will be considered to allow variances to the allowable projections, the number of parking stalls, and the parking configuration. A covenant amendment and a new covenant will also be considered. Council is in receipt of the reports of the Director of Planning dated July 29th and June 9th, 2015. The reports are recommending approval of the amendment of to the multifamily commercial Christmas Hill zone to increase the permitted gross floor area to the 585 square meters. The report is further recommending approval of the development permit, DPA 00821, and that final reading of the zoning amendment and ratification of the development permit amendment be withheld pending modification of the existing covenant. which would amend the clause in respect to the gross floor area, and to also include a new restriction that any on-site storage is limited to the storage of files, documents, office equipment accessory to the office use, specifically the storage of construction related to materials and equipment is strictly prohibited, including the parking of construction vehicles after hours or on weekends. Final reading will final reading will be withheld, and ratification of the development permit would be withheld pending registration of a covenant to ensure the Build Green Gold standards, installation of the ground source heat pumps, and providing $5,000 donated to the Swan Lake Christmas Hill Nature Sanctuary. Council is also in receipt of the bylaw as outlined, excerpts of the Committee of the Whole meeting of July 13th, report from the Advisory Design Panel of February 10th, 2015, 5 letters from the North Quadra Residents Association. That is the extent. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Is there any questions? Are there any questions from council to staff? Seeing none, we shall therefore ask the applicant to come forward, please. Welcome to our meeting.
Thank you. Good evening, Acting Mayor and Council. I'm Keith Baker from KB Design.
Just pull the mic towards you, Mr. Baker. Thank you.
I'm Keith Baker from KB Design. I'm the proponent, and I represent Danny Jadresko. I believe that everyone on council is familiar with the proposal as we've gone through a process, of course, with Committee of the Whole. We've addressed all of the issues that have come up through Design Panel and Committee of the Whole satisfactorily, I understand. And I'd be happy to answer any further questions anyone might have with regards to this application.
Okay. We usually will have the public input and potentially any questions arising out of that, and then return if council has any questions. So at this point, if you wouldn't mind, thank you for your presentation, and we'll just ask you to have a seat, and then we will invite members of the public to come forward. Thank you, Mr. Baker. Thank you. And at this time, if anybody would like to come forward to speak on this proposal, we just ask you to come forward, identify yourself and your name and your address, excuse me, and then we shall hear from you. Welcome.
Good evening. My name is Harold Wolf. I'm not really expecting to have much of an impact on this, but I'm...
Just your address, sir?
Oh, Harold Wolf, 41619 Kincaid. I just want to provide a little bit of historic perspective. I know way back when we were doing all the Christmas Hill studies, Councillor Brownoff was on council, and Councillor Dermond was on this side advocating for endless amenities, including viewscapes and lower density and everything else. And I do remember very strongly, because I helped advocate for it, that we wanted a destination commercial unit in that building. We thought we would have a little grocery store, something that was walkable for the development on the southwest side of Christmas Hill. As it is, the typical person on Blackberry there has got a 1.5 kilometer walk to get to Signage Centre, or if they want to go over to Glenford and Tillicum, so it's a 3 kilometer round trip. Nobody's going to walk that. And if anybody's ever tried biking along Mackenzie, that's pretty well out as well. So we're going against this constant talk about making our community more walkable and putting development without any opportunity to walk. If there was even a coffee shop in there, and I remember that on over by Riffit's Bog, when the commercial buildings went in there, the council insisted that a coffee shop go in there. And the developer at first said, well, it's not going to make any sense. Well, there's a coffee shop in there, and a lot of people use it, and it's wonderful. I would have, the people coming out of the church or taking their loved ones out of the old folks home across the street, it would be wonderful to have a coffee shop there, or a 7-Eleven or something that people could go for a liter of milk or a coffee. And and seeing this is just, it's just really disappointing that we haven't followed through on that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Wolf. Are there any other residents or, thank you. Welcome to our meeting, Mr. Charania.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, Mr. Acting Chair, Acting Mayor, members of council, and the staff member. Of course, my name is Haji Charania. I reside at 757 Genevieve Road, and this evening I'm speaking for North Quadra Community Association. I think on July 13th, the first committee of the whole meeting, you obviously heard from us that we had aspired to have different kind of development there. But 20 years, nothing has happened. The site is still unused, and therefore we do not wish to object this particular development. Now, July 13th meeting, Committee of the Whole meeting, several issues were identified by council and community. And there is a supplemental report dated July 29th, 2015. Now, that report has addressed some of the issues, or at least all the issues. Now, we are pleased to report that we are satisfied with the reworded covenant to prevent the building and the site becoming a construction site. That's an item 2. So there is a covenant which will go with the development permit, and hopefully it will be registered against the property so the future purchaser would know the rights and obligation. Again, we are very happy to leave the item 3 and 4 with the council to adjudicate. We're not going to get into the debate. Good luck to you. Now, an item dealing with the community contribution, we want to comment as follows. Given that most of the amenity contribution issue was dealt with when SIDC Comprehensive Development Plan was approved, we were seeking community contribution for a small additional area and rezoning. As you heard from the clerk, that the building is enlarged, basement has been added, and the rezoning is required. So in that respect, we wanted to get additional community contribution. I think that was echoed by the council member as well, with the committee as a whole. Now, we want to acknowledge and thank the applicant for donating $5,000 to Swan Lake Nature Sanctuary. However, we had requested to consider donating additional $3,000 for Christmas Hillside of the Nature Sanctuary. This $5,000 donated is going to go on to the boardwalk, and there was an opening ceremony for the boardwalk last Friday. And there are a few projects on the Christmas Hill side of the Nature Sanctuary. So we were hoping that there would be some contribution would be made. That was a very reasonable request from us, given that all these donations are tax deductible. So it should help the developer with it $5,000 or $8,000. So given that we got only $5,000, we would still hope that the developer would come forward and offer something, but we'll leave that with you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Charania. Are there any other people who would wish to speak to this? Calling for a second time. Yes, please step forward. Welcome. Oh, well, Mr. Baker, we'll call you at the end if that's acceptable, although you might want to stay close. So I will repeat my second call. Seeing none, a third and final call. Seeing none, I shall close the public input. And at this point, I will ask if council has any questions of the applicant. I did not have any that were raised directly by the people who spoke. They were, I believe, to be more rhetorical in comment regarding the increased amenity. And at this point, if there are no questions, yes, Councillor Hearn.
There we go. Thank you, Mr. Chair. The applicant seemed to be coming forward to approach the mic, and I'd be interested in hearing what he had to say.
Good enough for me. Mr. Baker, please step forward. We would like to invite you to share what we're going to share.
Thank you very much, appreciate that. It was really just on one point, and that is that it was stated by the clerk that there was a ground source heat pump that had been agreed to be put in. However, we'd had conversations with staff that it is actually an air source heat pump. The ground source was an impractical approach, which staff was aware of, and staff was suggesting that that not be changed at that juncture, that potentially might cause some confusion in the matter, and that it would be something that was simple and be able to be handled through. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention, that it in fact was an air source heat pump.
Thank you. Please just remain at the mic. Councillor Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thanks for coming. I just wanted to clarify about the lighting. So in the report it says that the proposed signage will have downcast light onto the building face rather than being backlit. Is there, because that part of the building does face residential, is there any way that the lighting could be on a timer and turned off, say at midnight?
I could discuss that with the owner.
Okay.
I'm not sure that that was discussed, but it was a very unobtrusive approach to lighting, very diffuse. By contrast, if that was in fact a 7-Eleven or a coffee shop, especially a 7-Eleven that would be open 24 hours, that would certainly have posed a much greater light pollution, if you will, into that area, had that been the proposed development. So we felt that using the gooseneck and shining against the building and diffusing the light was the most respectful and appropriate solution for the lighting.
7-Eleven isn't across the street from where people live.
Do you understand?
Anyway, I would just like you to be considerate and maybe
Absolutely.
think about it.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
Any other further questions from council? I do have one. I apologize, Mr. Baker. I should have followed up when you initially mentioned the error. You're saying air source, not ground source. A question just to staff. Just because what's being said is different than what's on paper, can you clarify that the recommendation would still be the same with the information that Mr. Baker has provided? And welcome to our meeting, Mr. Finlow, Senior Planner.
Yes, through the chair. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't think they've all been turned on, everybody.
On the side. On the side. On the side.
Oh, yeah, very good.
No, then the gray button.
All right. Technology. Through the chair. Yes, we had discussions, rather than trying to change this at the last minute. We can address that in the covenant, and we are aware of the change.
Great, thank you very much. At this point, we would turn over to council for any decision. I see Councillor Dermott.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would move the recommendation.
Second.
And speak to it briefly. Certainly, I'm well aware of the history of this area. I was president or involved with the North Quadra Association back when this area was originally rezoned. And yes, there have been hopes for some sort of small retail unit, but as Mr. Chirania mentioned, there's been 20 years past and nobody has taken up the opportunity, and I think that can only be held for a certain period of time. Mr. Chirania is further correct that when this was rezoned about 20 years ago or so, we did negotiate a very substantial amenity package, including about 3 hectares of parkland in the north end of the site next to Christmas Hill. So there was a pretty substantial amenity package, and I appreciate your adding to that amenity at this time. It would be helpful. So I'm happy to support this, and I wish you well on the project.
Thank you very kindly.
Councillor Haynes.
I similarly wish you well. I think it's a well-designed project. I like the attention you've given to the aesthetic appeal of the building. It's not just a box, it's an interestingly designed building. I think it will add to that neighbourhood. I do understand the comment that was raised by Mr. Wolf about maybe a convenience store or a 7-Eleven, but the market has decided that's not happening. So I wish you well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Just a question from myself to Madam Clerk. Given that we have in front of us the recommendation and the motion says ground source, do we need to officially amend that to say air source?
We can certainly clarify that it is the air source heat pump if Mr. Finlow agrees that it would be appropriate at this time. We can certainly do that.
So we do not need to make a motion to amend?
No, that's correct. We'll just make that a motion as intended throughout this recommendation.
Great. Simple is always good. Are there any other speakers on council? Seeing none, I shall put the question. All those in favor of the recommendation? Thank you. Opposed? None opposed. Carried unanimously.
I'll move.
Thank you all very kindly.
I'll move second reading of the rezoning.
Any question? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried unanimously.
Move third reading.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? None opposed. Carried unanimously.
And move approval of the development permit.
All those in favor? Opposed? None opposed. Carried unanimously. Thank you very much, Mr. Baker. You
And
can
thank
have a
you all. I'm
seat.
very grateful.
Look forward to this. Madam Clerk, would you please introduce the second item for this evening?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. This next item is in two parts. There are two bylaws on this property. This is the zoning bylaw 2003, amendment bylaws 2015, numbers 9353 and 9354. Bylaw 9353 is to create the new CD4DR, which is the comprehensive development Dieppe Road zone with the following permitted uses. Development permit area would have food processing, office, warehouse, wholesale distribution, or sorry, I should say wholesale and warehouse distribution, accessory building and structures. Development permit area A would be attached housing, home occupation, office, daycare for preschool children, accessory buildings and structures. Regulations for the accessory off-street parking, lot coverage, density, buildings and structures for attached housing and and accessory buildings are separate and included within that zone. Bylaw number 9354 is to rezone the properties at 4247 Dieppe Road, 4253 Dieppe Road, and 4255 to the new CD4DR zone and the RS6 single-family dwelling zone and RS4 zone in order to construct mixed-use development, including commercial industrial building for food processing use, 33 attached housing units, 8 bare land strata lots, and 1 fee simple lot for single-family dwelling use. A development permit will be considered to require the buildings and lands to be developed in accordance with the plans submitted. A covenant will also be considered. Council is in receipt of reports of the Director of Planning dated September 22nd, 2015, July 10th, 2015, and April 14th, 2015. Reports recommending approval of the amendment to the zoning bylaw to include the new site-specific CD4DR zone, recommending approval of the rezoning and approval of the development permit. The final reading of the zoning amendment and ratification of the development permit be withheld pending registration of a covenant to secure the following community contributions, the totaling $168,500. There will be contribution of $90,000 towards a full curb gutter sidewalk upgrades extending beyond the parcel frontage from Dieppe Road to Caen Road and as far up Caen Road as funds will allow in accordance with engineering standards. $3,000 towards 2 additional street lights on Caen Road, $63,000 towards the Sandwich Affordable Housing Fund, and $12,500 towards the Gable Creek environmental enhancement and awareness. The covenant would further require the construction of the commercial and industrial buildings to the LEED Silver or equivalent standard, registration of a building scheme for the bare land strata lots 1 through 8, Council is also in receipt, of course, of the applicable bylaws, excerpts of the Committee of the Whole meetings of August 12th and May 11th, 2015, letters from the applicants dated September 16th and June 18th, 2015, reports from or single report from the Advisory Design Panel, 5 letters from the North Quadra Land Use Protection Association, 2 letters from the Neighborhood Block Watch, 6 letters from adjacent or resident neighbors. That is the extent, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. That's quite a big document for you to read through there. Thank you very much for doing so well. Council, are there any questions that you wish to ask of staff? Seeing none, we shall call the applicant forward. We would welcome you to our meeting. I believe it's Mr. Fatt. Thanks for coming tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Council. My name is Ian Fatt. I reside at 6131 Hunt Road. Our presentation tonight will entail comments from myself. We'll have a quick review from our architect, Peter DeHook, and a presentation from Dean Strongthorn. He has been brought on board to address Council's request that we visit our amenity package. As well, our landscape architect, Scott Murdoch, and Marco Garcinelli from Novatrans are in the audience to answer any questions that might arise. This property was purchased by our great-grandfather in the late 1800s. Over the 4 generations, this piece of property has continued to change and employ people. Most of its years, it was operated as a poultry farm. We now are proud of the next generation who are working in the business. Our facility is both dated on the outside and the inside. It needs to be replaced, hopefully in Saanich. This replacement need is driven from many areas. Excuse me. Employee comfort, appearance of the facility, keeping our food safety designation, efficiency of our operations, and the upgrading of refrigeration, electrical, and water consumption to more environmentally friendly equipment. Islands West is a good example of what we feel today's society is striving to achieve. It is located in a residential highway area promoting walk to work. The company is prepared to assist employees with housing in the development. It is a food operation that promotes local food security and safety. In 2015, it will put $3.2 million in direct wages into this community. It promotes and provides local farms access to the island market, and councillors have letters of support from farmers in their package. This operation has operated in this location for many, many years, with only one complaint that we can remember, and that's since the chicken farmers left. We had a couple of the chicken farmers there. This is not to say that we do not have an impact via noise and appearance on our neighborhood, but we have strived over the years to minimize our impact. With this new project, many designs have been incorporated to further reduce our impact. We believe we do a good job of mandating that all of our trucks only use Douglas Street, which runs parallel to the Pat Bay Highway. They are banned from using Dieppe, Con, Lily, and Rogers. On occasion, these roads have been used, but only when we have traffic interruptions or new drivers that have forgotten their training. With the completion of this project, we will effectively stop the remaining third-party trucks that are still using Con and Dieppe. Our consultation process for the neighborhood was extensive. We have had 3 open houses over the last 4 years and many meetings with the North Quadra Community Association. And after each public meeting, the suggestions along with our own ideas were incorporated into the project. This is a major investment for our families. We have spent countless hours, many dollars, and much frustration to get to this point. We feel we are good corporate citizens, proud to be part of Saanich, and lucky to have community support for both Islands West and Portofino Bakery. Both of these companies are continuing to grow and invest in this community. We ask for your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fett. Will there be any other members of your delegations? Yeah. Well, this whole team, wonderful. Welcome to our meeting.
Thank you very much. Good evening. My name is Peter DeHogan. I'm the architect for the project. And I'm just going to start a slide presentation. If I can hit the right button. We've got a mouse here. Sorry about that delay, but I happen to be a Mac guy, and I just really don't know about these things. It's amazing. It's a bit, I guess, if you're used to driving a standard, you have to kind of get into a manual maybe, or whatever. Anyway, I have a little slideshow here. I just want to recap very quickly. You've all seen most of the information that I'll be presenting. I just want to kind of refresh that, and okay, we can just take. Okay, great.